Are you ready for some more Elle Silver pop?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, she's the replacement for Amy Horton.
Oh, she absolutely is, without a doubt.
I
She
think
is.
Amy.
She's arguably worse
Well,
in many
Amy's
ways.
gone silent, right?
Yeah. Yeah, she has. She has not written a single thing, not even on her own personal website, since October of last year. She is essentially off the grid at this point.
Yeah. Well, she's enjoying her retirement. Years of 40 to 80 is a long fucking time.
Yep. Now,
Wah.
before we jump into this bit of entitlement trash here, it all just kind of ties together. We're just going to touch on these articles a little bit because Elle Silver, you can only take so much of her mental diarrhea at a time before it literally drives you nuts.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but as you can tell from everything that we've already discussed, part of the problem of modern women is modern men. They are freely throwing money at these chicks hand over fist in exchange for exactly nothing.
Yep.
Or the illusion of not feeling lonely, if only for a minute. $1 a minute.
$1 a minute.
But where does it begin? Chicks like Elle Silver who have already aged out, and now they are teaching their entitlement to the younger generations.
Mm.
I was disappointed the diamond in my engagement ring wasn't big enough.
Actually, that's fairly common.
I know. It's
a lot of
pathetic.
women in the West that. So listen, this shit ain't cheap. You probably paid, between $2,000 and $4,000 for the engagement ring, and then you're gonna look them in the face and go, "It's not big enough."
Eh.
Really? No, go fuck yourself. You're not
Oh,
even
shit,
worth
man.
it.
You should have seen this, like one of those street interview videos somebody sent to me the other day. These chicks were being asked, "What do you think a man should spend on an engagement ring?" They were throwing out $100,000, $250,000. One chick who has no right to expect this kind of money in her lifetime because she's morbidly obese and ugly as sin said $500,000 for an
Okay.
engagement ring.
Nope, that's insane.
You're lucky if a dude will spend $5 on a Happy Meal for your fat asses, ladies. Size 18, average, really?
Well, here's the thing.
Beauty at any size. I'm sure the coroner who's stuffing you into the coffin that doesn't fit will say the same thing.
But
Go
the
ahead.
the entitlement is so deep that the women of today literally get married, they divorce, and then they expect to get married again 2 or 3 more times looking for the right one.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
He'll make a great first husband.
Yeah, how many
Right?
times are you gonna actually get a dude who's gonna shell out thousands of dollars for a ring, thousands of dollars for the wedding, invite all his friends and family to stand up in a church and swear that he will take care of you for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
That and there's women out there who won't even get that once now.
No.
Yeah,
And what? But over half now or have made it to the age of 35, no marriage, no kids.
that's right. They're done.
Bye bye. And what's hilarious about Elle Silver writing an article like this is that she would have us believe that she was the adult in the relationship. You remember the first video that we did on her was a pop culture where she complained about how she married a man child, right?
Mhm.
Even though he made all the money and he came from money, which is why she married him in the first place. But if the diamond isn't big enough, guess what she's telling her friends about your P nice dudes? I'm just saying. And probably because she's got a body count that could stack from here to the moon.
Well, if she's a prostitute, at least low orbit.
Yeah. When it dawned on me that my now ex-husband was going to propose marriage, I wonder what kind of a diamond he'd give me as an engagement ring. In short, how big would it be? I expected a very large diamond. He comes from a wealthy family, which is why you dated him. On the night he proposed, he got down on one knee, presented me with a ring. It was a beautiful platinum band with a glittering diamond. But my heart still sunk when I saw it wasn't a huge diamond.
Yeah, here we go.
It was still 3/4 carat, but I'd hoped for a carat or larger. So let me get this straight. He's the child in this arrangement?
I guess. I don't know. But
There's a reason why this cunt writes under a pseudonym. Elle Silver is not her name. It's a
no.
pen name. No one knows what her real name is. You want to know why? Because almost every single article of hers that I have read has something libelous and obviously untrue about her ex.
Well, she never names the ex, right?
No, she never names him.
All right.
And that's why she does the pseudonym thing. I guarantee you she and of course she begs for monetary donations to support her writing career on her Linktree. Like, come on. I want a huge diamond for my engagement ring. I'd hoped for a diamond like so many of my friends had.
And there you have the keeping up with the Joneses prices.
Or as we call it on Redonkulous, the Cudge factor.
Mm-hmm.
They're all diamonds were at least a carat. A couple of my friends even had a 6 or 10 carat diamond engagement ring.
6 carat? That's a lot. That's like a $21,000 stone.
Yeah, like if a dude can afford a 6 or a 10 carat diamond engagement ring, he might be marrying you, but you're not the only one shining his coin purse, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, gargling his ball bag is what you're trying to say?
Oh yeah, big time. Mouth hug with a head bob all day long. He probably has a different car picked out for roadhead with each chick.
Yeah, he's going to do a Tiger Woods.
Yep, Tiger in the woods. And he's going to fill all 18 holes. It's just, oh my gosh. I felt greedy and superficial.
You are.
Thank you. My man had just asked me to spend my life with him, and here I was feeling resentful and annoyed that the diamond wasn't big enough. What was my problem? You need to be prepared to hear the answer to that question and the hour-long lecture that will follow.
Spoiled biatcha is what her problem is.
If I knew this bitch's real name, you have any idea how fast I'd be sending her all these episodes we're going to be doing?
I'm sure she's going to see him.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I'm sure she'd be like, "Oh, you need to cease and desist." Yeah, good luck trying to levy a lawsuit from a pseudonym, you dumb biatcha. Show me your real name, and then we'll take it to discovery. We'll talk to your ex and show him exactly what you've been saying.
Oh, my Lord.
I just don't get this.
Well, I bashed my ex-wife too, so it is what it is.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you tell the truth.
Yeah.
Your stories about your ex have not changed in the 14 years that I have known you. This chick contradicts herself repeatedly because she lies all the time.
All right, hang on. She contradicts herself all the time because she's a woman. That's what they do. They gaslight and lie and manipulate you, and then when you try to call them out, they gaslight you more. It's what they do. I'm serious. It comes in their basic programming.
That just sounds like a conspiracy theory, Pop.
It's exactly what that is. It's a conspiracy.
Oh, I was so insecure during this era. I ultimately had to heal my issues with money before I could build enough self-esteem to be okay with not having a giant flashy diamond engagement ring. And as we all know from reading your other articles and the two we're about to get into, you obviously tackled your money issues with class, style, and dignity. Oh, wait. I stayed in my unhappy marriage because of money that only hurt my kids.
Oh, my Lord. Here we go.
What was I saying about her contradicting herself?
Yeah.
Because if you remember last week, gentlemen, if you watched last Tuesday, if you haven't watched it, I recommend it. This chick claimed that having an affair while still married to her husband made her a better mom. So which is it?
No. It's not the fact that she cheated that made her a better mom. It's the guilt.
Yes,
Because she cheated.
But I have to ask though, is it hurting her kids to stay in her marriage? Or was she a better mom because she stayed in her marriage but had a side piece? She can't seem to make up her mind. Probably because she's a liar.
I'm thinking it's guilt.
Yeah, well, or she could just be a flat liar. I mean, this is a pseudonym. For all we know, this could be a fanfic she had concocted in her fucking head.
Well, you are correct. Yeah.
There's no way to vet any of this because she won't tell people who she really is.
Sooner or later, it's going to come out.
Yeah, maybe.
See, that's one thing that from the very beginning when I started this project, I always showed my face and used my real name.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I mean,
it gives you a lot more credibility.
it does. Yeah, because there's a lot of people out there. I mean, like I understand why they do the the anonymity thing to a point, but at the same time, it does make you very easy to ignore when you do that. So let me see here. During my last 2 years of my marriage, my husband and I became strangers to one another. We were two people living in the same house, even sharing the same bed. Apart from that, we lived separate lives. When we did talk, it was only to argue. Mostly we bickered about how my husband slept until noon, rarely got out of bed, and refused to look for a job. Well,
Okay.
in another article, she freely admits that this was a dude who was on the up and up, had tons of money coming in, and lost his ass when the real estate bubble, something he could not control, exploded in his face. This sounds like depression, and she sounds like an opportunistic quantaha for not helping him through it.
Well, listen, Blake, you and I know women don't help men through shit.
Oh, yeah. If you're there for her at her worst, she will leave you at yours.
Yeah. Listen, they literally are just waiting to jettison your ass.
Yeah.
You get hurt, you're getting divorced. Lose your job, getting divorced.
And I guarantee you, she would never have concocted Elle Silver, the pseudonym, if this had not happened to that dude. She would still be happily married because the money would still be rolling in. Because that's really all this is about. And when you look at how many of her articles discussing her divorce are specifically about money, it really doesn't make a good case for her.
Well, I
as a
mean, she
decent
was
human being.
bitching about the wedding ring.
Yeah, bitching about the wedding ring, and now she's staying for the money, even though I love this. I stayed in my unhappy marriage for the money, but if you're staying in your marriage for the money and your husband's sleeping until noon, isn't getting out of bed, and isn't looking for a job, where's the money? Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It's the trust fund that, to my knowledge, I mean, I'm not sure about the states here, but I think trust funds that are passed down as inheritance or what have you cannot be garnished in a divorce. Am I correct on that?
I'm not a lawyer, but you can. There's ways around that.
I guess it depends on where you live, which states.
Well, if I had stayed in finance, I'd probably be in prison because I'd be a money launderer.
Well, at least you're honest about it.
I'm not kidding. I mean, I'm an evil genius, and I just if I fuck around long enough, I'll be like, okay, I can move it here, do that, no taxes. Yeah, I go right to prison.
See, he can admit it. Why can't you, Joe Biden? Just saying, and this is all hypothetical. We know you committed treason, you senile fuck.
Yeah.
Just saying. Just saying. Oh, here we go. To make matters worse, I was also bankrupt.
Oh, here we go.
We had to move to a crummy part of town and put our kids in substandard schools. I didn't want to do this. Why? Because she's grown accustomed to a lifestyle that he needs to continue to supply for her, right? So she claimed bankruptcy. If I left my husband, I doubted I could get a landlord to rent an apartment to me, even in a less desirable part of town. I was working, but only part-time. This is because I was trying to be the perfect mom by cheating on your husband and then using that guilt to feed your relationship with your kids, using
being
like
the perfect,
sugar, gifts. Yeah,
the perfect mother. Yeah, get out of here.
totally.
No, I'm not falling for that shit.
Absolutely not. Apparently, his parents were paying their rent. It was better to stay together, but I was miserable. My distressing financial situation kept me in an unhappy marriage.
Pay your bills.
See what I mean about her changing the story on stuff, though? So this is 2021. Okay. Later on, this story changed to include her admitting to infidelity.
Ah, there
She
we go.
doesn't talk about any of that.
Well, if she's that unhappy, you
Well,
know she's gonna step out.
look at this here, though. I finally left my husband. I finally worked up the courage to leave. Yes, this was a terrifying decision. I moved my sons with me into a new apartment. I had to ask my father to co sign on my lease. I went on food stamps and got a full time job. I scraped by, hardly able to pay bills. However, almost immediately after leaving my husband, my sons became happier.
Okay, okay.
But later on, she writes an article saying that what made her sons happier was having an affair. Which is it, you lying Kawantaha?
Wow, you wanna talk about log jamming up your own argument, man.
Yep. Well, she's hoping that most people are just going to read one article, maybe a few of the others. And most of the people who are going to read her shit and take it seriously are looking for confirmation bias. They're not actually reading it with any, eye for substance. But you and I can
Yep.
read this stuff and look at it and remember the other articles and be like, wait a second.
Yeah.
So they only became happier after the divorce, but you claimed that cheating on your husband made you a better mom and it made your kids happier before the divorce.
Well, my thing is this. She has two sons, right?
Yeah.
And she's saying they were happier when she got divorced. If the husband beat on those kids and was a raging asshole, that's the only way that's possible.
Yep.
Because usually the boys always, they flock to the energy of the father, especially when they start to get a little older.
Yep. Because as we all know, women cannot raise men.
No, they cannot.
It does not work out. And then, of course, the story changes again because in the last article, she just talks about how she had to declare bankruptcy. Okay. And then that meant that her credit score tanked.
Well, she had to file bankruptcy while she was married.
Yes. Which means if she claimed bankruptcy while she was married, that actually means that while she's still married, all of her debts default to the spouse.
If he co-signs for him, yeah.
Yes. Well, even then, a lot of times, just because people want their pound of flesh, they'll just chuck it over to you anyway and be like, "Oh, community property. Sorry."
Well, yeah. I mean, they can try that, but I have a friend of mine, Kelly Negosian, is a lawyer, tax lawyer, and he's had to go in there for an expert witness to keep that shit from happening.
Okay. Well, it's nice to know somebody's looking out.
Well, I mean, a lot of times these women will open up credit cards in their own name, and the husband doesn't even know about it. And then she files for divorce and then tries to dump all of this credit card debt on the husband.
Yep. Happens all the
And
time.
it happens all
And men do
the
it
time.
to their wives too. I've seen that happen.
It's not as prevalent from man to woman. It's more
No, it's not as
common.
prevalent, but it does happen.
Yeah, of
I've seen
course.
people that just they're pissed off, whatever. And 80% of divorces are filed by women. So a lot of the times when it does happen in the reverse, it's like, well, you get what you get.
Yep. It is what it is, man. We're all evil hairless monkeys.
You could divorce me, but you're taking my credit card debt with you. Oh yeah. You see how you like that shit, bitch. But
Mm,
the story changes again.
okay.
Now, her husband bankrupted her, destroyed her financially, and then we divorced. You notice how there's a progression here because look at this. This story was written in December of 2021. She talks about the bankruptcy and blah, 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 and everything. Never mentions where it came from. She goes into some detail, but never really goes into it. And then here we go.
Hmm.
Now all of a sudden it's her husband who bankrupted her, destroyed her financially, and then left her and then divorced her.
It destroyed me financially. Okay.
Well, I'll never forget the experience of going to bankruptcy court to process my bankruptcy. It's located in downtown LA. First, you waited in a big room packed with people where you sat for hours. This was pre pandemic Los Angeles, so nobody was masked. It was like being at the DMV. People of every walk of life, people who look rich, look poor, people who looked middle class, all races and ethnicities. It's almost as if poverty is colorblind.
Yeah.
Fascinating for you to admit that as somebody who probably believes in white male privilege.
And she's probably, and listen, she probably has to file bankruptcy because she ran up a bunch of her own debt trying to keep up with her friends.
Well, as we all know, women never take responsibility for stuff. So what she blames it on is that 7 years into the marriage, I let my husband take out a loan in my name. You might say this was a stupid thing to do. At the time, I didn't realize just how dumb it was for me to do this for my husband, even if we were married. Except husbands do it for their wives all the
Yes,
time.
they do.
It would have been totally fine if it was the other way around, and then he would have been they would have told him to man up if all the debt fell on him. I took out the loan in my name because my husband was bankrupt and had bad credit. He had invested in real estate before the financial crisis, so that part is consistent. When the housing bubble popped, he could no longer afford to keep paying the mortgages on the 10 properties he owned because their value had dropped. He could no longer scoop out the equity, which was what we had been living on. He defaulted on the loans for the properties he owned. As such, to survive, he needed me to take out a loan for him. He wanted to invest the money in a new opportunity that was supposed to reap huge rewards. The money we would earn would pull us out of the financial morass the housing crisis had left us in. We were ruined and going under, so I signed on the dotted line and everything will be okay, he said. I believed my husband. I trusted him.
Here we go.
Besides, his money was my money and vice versa. Right? No. See, how it works in a marriage is his money is your money and your money is your money. Right?
That's typically how it goes.
That is typically how it goes. He would be there to protect me regardless if this deal fell through. He had my back, which was obviously true. They had to move into a smaller place and put their kids into a different school, but their rent was still paid, their bills were still paid.
Yeah.
She just wanted the lifestyle back.
She wanted to keep up with the Joneses. Yeah.
Yep. I wanted to believe this. Still, I couldn't deny the whole thing sounded sketchy from the get go. Bullshit. You didn't know what the hell you were signing, and you knew it. Worse, I didn't do my due diligence to vet the scheme. I counted on my husband to do that. But it was more than that. I didn't want to do my due diligence because I knew if I looked at this sketchy deal too carefully, I would get scared. I'd see it for what it was. All right, so let me get this straight. You expect me to believe that the financial wizard who came from money and had a lot of it, which is why you married him,
Yep.
and was ruined by a financial crisis he had no control over, fell for a Ponzi scheme?
It happens.
It does, but do you have any idea how rare it is for somebody who's good with money to not
Yeah.
see that?
You are correct. You are correct. I've had quite a few offers for Ponzi schemes in my life.
I mean, typically real estate is one of the safest investments you can make because they're not making any more land.
No.
So at the time, I'm sure he thought this was ironclad, and when it tanked, it probably shook his confidence up a little bit, but it's not gonna rewire his thinking me to where he's not gonna see this coming. It's just my opinion, of course,
Oh no, you're totally.
but it sounds
It sounds kind of fishy.
it just fits right in with her. Oh, he's a man child. He's useless. I'm really the one who did everything. And that's why my diamonds should have been bigger. And that's why I should be doing better than my husband now that the divorce is final and it's not fair, way.
So it sounds like she is trying to harvest some of the sympathy from the sympathy farm.
Oh, absolutely. And we all know where you can find sympathy.
Yeah, in the dictionary between shit and syphilis.
There you go. The architect of the Ponzi scheme ultimately went to prison. Still, the bank that loaned me the money started calling and I couldn't pay them back. My husband didn't have any money either. We were ruined. That's when the realization came that I also had to claim bankruptcy, which wouldn't have gotten rid of the debt.
Well, yeah, it all depends. You can get. there's a lot of debt you can get discharged, but like tax liens and child support, you can't.
Yep. Which is horse shit, the child support thing. Just
Yeah.
saying. I mean, seriously, you have to be stupid to throw a dude in jail for not paying child support. Oh, you're not going to pay child support? Well, I'm going to throw you in jail where you definitely can't pay child support.
Yeah, isn't that nuts? Nuts, man.
What do you mean you can't make it to work on time? I'm fine. I'm going to come over and slash your tires. Well, then he can't make it to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
You dumb shit.
Yeah, the whole system is just fucked, man.
Oh, man. I encourage you guys, if you can stomach the sheer brain dead diarrheal insanity that is Elle Silver, go and read these articles. See if you can pick apart any more of the lies and just the weasel words and how she tells these things. Because I guarantee you, most of this is rewritten history.
Well, yeah. Well, first of all, that happened in 2008.
Well, these articles go back. Yeah, the housing crisis. Yeah, 2008. But these articles have been spit out over a period of about 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, but still a decade ago.
Yeah.
So typically, if you file for bankruptcy, it's usually off your credit report within 7 years, sometimes 10. So he could have. Yeah, this is so much. It's just bullshit. The whole article's bullshit.
I really don't believe anything that she writes.
No.
And, I mean, having just the one pop culture we did, we showed that this is a woman who is all about the lifestyle. She married for money, and then as soon as the money was no longer coming in at the clip that she wanted it, she started nitpicking her husband just so she could, at first find a justification to cheat and not feel guilty about it. And then, of course, well, yeah, I cheated, but it made me a better mother. Oh, but then I found out that my husband cheated, and that made me really mad. Wow. And he's a man child, but I should have had a bigger diamond because I said so.
She's obviously a narcissist.
Yeah.
She's selfish. I mean, it sounds like the typical Western woman.
Yeah. And as we all know, narcissists are notorious for not getting the facts straight because virtually their entire backstory is built on a foundation of rewritten history. They have figured out ways to make themselves the victim in every single situation to the point where they can't even tell you the truth anymore.
Yeah.
They have it's God. Like if they had their own autobiography, it would have certain passages highlighted and pages torn out.
Yes, it
you
would.
wonder how the hell you get from A to B, and the truth is they don't even fucking know anymore. They've lied to themselves so much they don't know what to believe.
Well, sooner or later, they're all going to find out.
Because that's what happens when you fuck around.
And well, if you live in a fantasy world, at some point, the real world's going to show up and kick your ass over your head.
Yes, and I refuse to let Elle Silver turn my home into a house of lies. You dumb bitch.
I like it.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporters Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.